All right, guys, what is going on? This is Kings of Lethal. Today, I got myself, Nick. I got my brother Joe here with me. Today, we're going to go ahead and we're going to talk about the other pre-con new cards. I believe it's called Rev Up, correct, Joe?
Yeah, it's vehicle centric, so it will be blue, white, or Azores themed artifacts, mainly the vehicle themed. Um, Not everybody's cup of tea, but if you do play vehicles, then this is a good set for you. There's going to be a lot of great ones. We're going to obviously talk about the new cards that come out in the set and give our opinions if we like the card, if not, and hopefully help talk about if they're going to fit in the deck or not.
Yeah. We'll do a make the cut or not make the cut. This will be Joe's opinion on make the cut because he's the one building the deck. He'll be the one that's going to be upgrading the deck, and then we'll possibly even have a video of his upgraded version of his deck where he'll go through his deck and explain why he put certain cards into his deck. That being said, even if you're not a vehicle player or you haven't played vehicles before, if you've played artifacts, this is pretty much in your realm. Artifact decks are artifact decks. I would actually recommend if you haven't, like if you played Urza before, maybe try out these artifacts, these artifact vehicles. They're creatures on a card. They don't come out as creatures, so they kind of get around board wipes if somebody tries to board wipe. They're actually pretty cool creatures.
He's right. There are a few artifacts that in this deck that we're going to talk about, actually, these new cards, that are not vehicles themselves, but are artifacts, and they just synergize with artifacts in general. Let's get to the cards. The first one we're going to look at is...
we're going to look at Swift Reconfiguration.
Yeah, this is a one mana... white card, enchantment aura with flash, enchant creature or vehicle, and then enchanted permanent is a vehicle artifact with crew of 5, which is a little high, but then it also loses all other card types. So what's really cool about this is you can flash it onto someone's problematic commander. Let's say they bring out something really huge, or they bring it out to a creature that is going to do a bunch of stuff. You could take it away. You can flash it onto one of your cards to save it if someone's trying to board wipe and you don't want that creature to die because now it loses the creature typing and just becomes a vehicle, which is actually really cool.
Yeah, my favorite part about this card is the first thing that came to mind. If you're running a vehicle heavy artifact heavy deck, the first artifact creature that comes to mind for me is Blightsteel Colossus. So I got this big Blightsteel Colossus. Everybody knows what he does: trample, beat stick. He's going to lose all of his other card types, but he's going to keep his abilities. So the reason why I like this is because let's say somebody, okay, I'm going to just mass board wipe or mass exile all creatures. Now you can flash this enchantment onto him. He loses all of his creature types. He becomes a vehicle now. He was safe from that board wipe, and then all you got to do is a crew of 5.
Blightsteel would be safe from board wipes anyways because he's indestructible.
Well, if it's an exile one, no.
Exile one, no, but yeah. So it does get around him. You could also, if your opponent's trying to swing at you with Blightsteel, you could flash this in, and now it cancels it out because they didn't crew him. So you do it before they attack. You turn it into a vehicle. And now they got to waste another creature. They got to tap another creature down to attack, or you could use it as an offensive thing. Put it on one of your opponent's blockers if you want to swing in if they have shields up, but you want to bring their shields down. You could flash it onto one of their creatures, and now they only have the one creature. They can't crew it.
Yeah, I think it's a pretty fun card.
It's a good card.
It's pretty nice.
Yeah,
all right, guys. The next card we're going to go and talk about is going to be Released to Memory. It's a 3 and a white for an instant. Exile target opponent's graveyard. For each creature card exiled this way, create a 1/1 color spirit creature token. I personally like this card. Joe, what's your opinion?
I like it. It can be used many ways. It's good that it's an instant. If it was a sorcery, it would kind of be meh. But the fact that it's an at instant speed, you can use it to exile someone's graveyard, and then you just get a bunch of tokens which you can use as blockers. You can use them on your turn to crew your vehicles, which is really great. It does get rid of someone's graveyard. So again, if someone's playing a lot of reanimators or just graveyard centric decks, it's a Tormod's Crypt on an instant speed and white. It's going to be another thing that they have to watch out for. I like it all around solid card.
Yeah, the reason why I like it so much is this is to me it's almost like an instant white staple card for me just going forward from this point. Reason why I say that is we got a buddy who plays Old Stick Fingers, which is a creature. It's a graveyard-centric deck. It wants you to put creatures into your graveyard for old stick fingers. So you know, like when you hit stuff like that, you're going to be getting a lot of these 1/1 spirits back. And I actually played in a tournament recently at my LGS here in Las Vegas. Power 9, shout out to them. The kid was actually playing a old stick fingers deck, and he had Umoria as his companion, and his name of his deck was literally all monsters, and literally every card in his deck, other than his lands, was creatures. So it's like that. Just blow up his graveyard, and you get just a butt ton of creatures.
Release to Memory is great. It being a 4-drop is not too bad, actually, because recently Wizards has printed a lot of good white ramp. There's actually a new card, I believe, coming out in this set that can get you lands. It happens to be a really good artifact vehicle, so we'll talk about it in just a minute. But then you got cards like...
I actually don't even want to draw his card or play his card early game anyways. I want to, like... You know, I hate when I have Bojuku Bog in my opening hand. Like, I have to play it.
Yeah, but where this is better than Bojuku Bog is Bojuku Bog is a land. So if that's one of your only early land drops, you have to play it. Otherwise, you're going to be even further behind.
This card, to me, for being a 5-drop, I'm okay with that because this is going to be a mid to late
This is one of the hand traps, and that's a term that if you play other TCGs, this is a good hand trap to hold in your hand. As someone is trying to, dump a bunch of stuff in their graveyard, and they go, okay, I'm going to play Reanimate. You go in response. Release to memory. Now you literally make them waste Reanimate or some. They can still grab something from another graveyard, but obviously they would want to go for something in their graveyard.
Yeah, we didn't talk about this in the last one. I'm sure Swift Reconfiguration made your cut. Does this one make the cut?
So far, both of these do.
Okay, solid. Both have made the cut.
All right, folks. The next card in line is a creature card called Drum Bellower. He's a 2 colorless and 1. Mana source, so 3 converted mana total for a 2/1 flying creature with a really good ability for vehicles. Untap all creatures you control during each other player's untap step.
Why is that good?
Well, one of the problems with vehicles is you have to tap creatures equaling or exceeding the crew of the vehicle you want to pilot, so it basically leaves your shields down. With this creature, during each player's untap step, all of your creatures will be able to untap. Not your vehicles, but that's okay. You'll still be able to have your shields up for defenses if your opponent tries to crack back after you hit them. So it's a pretty decent card. And it's also good because it doesn't just say like all artifact creatures, it's all creatures. So this could be a good card for any deck that has white going with tokens. You have a huge board, you swing out, now you're like, oh, great, my shields are down. Oh, wait, no, they're not. Drum Bellower, I feel, is going to be a really decent card moving forward.
Yeah, I mean, I do like it. It's a low drop for, a nice little flyer on the board there for you. It's got a power of 2, which means you can crew your vehicles a little bit easier than some. The reason why I like this card so much is it's versatile in a lot of other different decks. There's that deck, I think it's a blue, white, green, I forget the name of it, it's like a Rhino, where it wants you to be tapping your stuff. And if this thing is constantly untapping your stuff.
His name is Rune.
Yeah, Rune, that's the one.
And yeah, you basically with Rune, you pay 1, tap him, I believe, and you flicker something out. So you get Rune on your opponent's turns. You get, so you can do Rune shenanigans all throughout. Yeah, Rune isn't green, so you can also double down on Seedborn, but it's still.
Yeah, I mean Seedborn does it every turn too. She's all permanents. This thing is.
But
just
she is
creatures.
also 5 mana, so
exactly.
You can go into this guy, and then if they waste a spot removal on him, you can go 2 turns later. All right, Seedborn, boom.
Yeah.
Now I have a better untap. So it's consistency.
I would even consider this thing just a little bit more lethal than a Seedborn, in the fact that most people don't attack with Seedborn. Seedborn just sits there and she looks pretty. This thing's a flyer, so it can get over most people's stuff and still hit it for
That is true, and then it can untap itself.
Yeah.
Then it can untap itself during your opponent's turn. So again, you have blockers on your opponent's turn. So again, great card. It's got a power of 2, so it can crew 2.
Yep.
And the commanders, both big main commanders in this thing, the actual printed commander, my apologies, gives all your vehicles crew of 2. So this guy can go into a vehicle and then on your opponent's turn untap himself for a blocker. So
that's really
great
awesome.
card.
Did it make the cut?
Oh yeah.
Made the cut, guys. You heard it here. All right, guys. The next one up is the first blue card we're going to talk about, Universal Surveillance. X and 3 blue. So you got to have those 3 blue to cast this. It's a sorcery card. It's got Improvise, which if you don't know, improvises your artifacts can help you cast a spell. Each artifact you tap after you're done activating mana abilities pay for 1. And then draw X cards is what the card does. So it's another blue draw spell. We see these a lot. Not really a big fan of this card, but if you are in an artifact heavy deck, this is something that, like a Urza or something, this is probably something that you would probably want to play.
In a sense, yes, but I would rather run Pull from Tomorrow. Pull from Tomorrow doesn't have improvise, so I mean, if you do have a huge board of Thopters and you're looking to in your hands pretty jank, you can draw into a bunch of stuff. But Pull from Tomorrow, I believe, is one blue X, and then you draw that many cards and discard 1 card. So you can save the mana that you would put into the 3 generic or the 3 blue to even cast this. I feel like Pull from Tomorrow. This one isn't going to make the cut. I don't see it being a good card. If you don't have Pull from Tomorrow and you are running this deck, and again, you do create a bunch of Thopters, Mirrors. You have a huge army of little pingers. As my brother said, Urza is a really good combination with this card. So if you have an Urza deck, I would kind of throw this into Urza's deck just because you're going to be able to tap your artifacts for blue with Urza's ability. Again, it does have its good characteristics on it. It's got the improvise ability, but I'd rather run something else, maybe just a generic draw spell card.
Yeah. I could see our buddy still running this in his Saheeli deck where he can tap all the artifacts that she makes and then just draw a bunch of cards.
Yeah, I forgot about the red-blue menace of Saheeli. The commander one who you can use as your commander. She's great. She's got 2+1s. Both synergize well with this. So Saheeli's good commander. Any artifact deck is going to look to create tokens mainly. There's a few graveyard centric ones, but you're still going to be able to put these support cards in there.
Yeah.
So it's a pretty decent card. To me, it's not going to make the cut.
It's a blue draw card.
It's a blue draw card. Yeah. It's just 3 solid pips of blue.
Yeah, it's a bit much.
Not my cup of tea.
So no cut?
No cut.
All right.
All right, folks. And now we get to our first new vehicle coming from this set, this precon. It's 1 white 2 generic for a 3/4 flying vehicle. It's a great looking card. It looks amazing, like a mechanical angel. It's awesome. Its name is Aerial Surveyor. Whenever
sounds like a demon.
We each have our views on the flying creatures. Whenever Aerial Surveyor attacks, a defending player controls more lands than you. Search your library for a basic plains card, put it onto the battlefield tap, then shuffle, and he's got a crew of 2. No speculations. I love this vehicle. Love this card. Great white ramp because you're playing in Azora's colors, so you really don't have any. You have no access to the green ramp cards. You do have some access to the newer white ramp, but this is going to be a good card. He's got a small crew cost, good body on him. 3/4 is amazing. Yeah. And let's say if 2 of your opponents explode out and ramp out, you now have 2 options to go into them to get extra, and it brings it to the battlefield tap, not just to your hand. So it does give you it gives the land onto the battlefield, so you are trying to catch up. So
yeah, and it is an on attack trigger too, which is one of my favorite things. But my favorite part about this card, I think this card honestly would be OP if it wasn't a vehicle. If it was just a basic artifact creature, this thing would be mythic, hands down. Flying 3/4 for 3 CMC, and just whenever it attacks, you get to search for a basic.
I wouldn't say necessarily it would be even better if it was just an artifact creature. It still is. Easy to kill because it does have the artifact part on it. You just play Vandal Blast on it.
True,
but it does. You still have to wait unless you can give it haste or you flash it in. It has summoning sickness, so it does have to attack. So it's fair. It's a great vehicle.
I love the design of it. So
yeah, it's great. Definitely going in.
Made the cut.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
In a heartbeat.
Made the cut. I was gonna say if this thing didn't make the cut, what will? All right, on to the next one. Okay, the next card we're going to talk about is going to be Imposter Mech for 1 blue, 3/1 artifact vehicle. You may have Imposter Mech enter the battlefield as a copy of a creature an opponent controls, except it's a vehicle artifact with crew 3 and it loses all other card types. I like this card a lot. It reminds me a lot of Phyrexian Metamorph.
It does in some veins. Imposter Mech only can clone. If you want it to clone, it has got to target a creature an opponent controls, but that can be very versatile. You can have it come in as If they have an Avacyn on the board, it can come in as an Avacyn, and it will still give you all the abilities of the card it clones. It just loses all the creature typing.
Even if it's not crewed?
Yes. So when a vehicle is on the board and it's not crewed, it's just an artifact in a sense. So when you crew them, that's when they become creatures, or in the vein of that's when they turn online.
That's actually kind of really good too.
Yeah. So vehicles can get around board wipes that were like Damnation or Wrath of God, because those only target creatures. If your vehicle is not in creature form, it survives it. So that's the cool thing about vehicles, but in the downside, that's also the bad side about them.
So does this one make the cut, or?
Definitely. It's really good. It's an easy, cheap little guy to get out. And he's got a pretty good body. Or he actually has a pretty body, because he can die to a spark or a lightning bolt, but it's all right.
Yeah, well, if he's crewed. If he's not crewed, then he's
a vehicle, exactly.
Yeah,
so that's one of the problems. So that's actually a good thing. I'm glad you actually brought that up. So Imposter Mech's pretty good. Solid card.
All right.
All right, next card is another blue card. It's a 3 and then 2 blue, so a 5 mana drop for an instant card. Counter target spell. Create X 1/1 colorless Thopter artifact creature tokens with flying, where X is that spell's mana value.
That's insane.
Now that's good, but it's also bad, because if you gotta have 5 mana open, which can limit your play the turn that you draw into this, or that you want to use this, you have to have the 5 open. 2, if someone plays a 3 CMC spell, and it's going to help them, if you want to counter it, well, then you're basically only going to get 3 Thopters, and you're going to pay 5. So you're minusing 2 out right there. So it's got to be a good payoff. Normally, you would probably hold this up for someone playing an overloaded Psych Rift, or Aminatu's Augury, or a Kozilek, or a big spaghetti monster. So it's one of the counter spells that you would hold up. There are a few other counter spells in the game that are artifact centric. So if you want to, stay with the artifact theme, if that's what you want to do, if you're a person that wants to play themed cards, you can run those smaller counters, which are basically the same equivalent of cancel, and then just have this as a trap, as like a late game hand trap.
The reason why I like this card so much, though, is it reminds me a lot of the blue counter already out in the game called Spell Swindle. Like, the art and the colors are almost kind of similar.
Yeah.
Spell Swindle gives you those treasures, which I would argue are possibly better because it's mana.
Yeah.
But, I mean, don't knock those 1/1 flying Thopter artifacts.
No, that's true. So both of them have their great advantage, but they both have the same thing. You get the Thopters or treasures equal to the CMC of the card that you counter. So again, you run into it's. Whereas this may fall behind a Spell Swindle, because, as you said, Spell Swindle gives you mana. So you can use those mana to further do other plays.
I'm not saying that this is better than Spell Swindle. I prefer Spell Swindle. But in a vehicle deck where you want to have creatures to crew, getting more little creatures to just throw into a big monster is always a plus.
That is true, and that's a good point. Building a vehicle deck, you can kind of run into a problem of, do I run this many vehicles to this many creatures, or this many creatures to this many vehicles? Because if you gotta find that right balance, because you don't want to draw into nothing but creatures and not have your vehicle when all your cards work around vehicles. And then you don't want to draw into all your vehicles and have no creatures to crew into them.
Yeah. So speaking on that part, with the precon, I actually like the big mech, white-blue legendary more than the actual, was it Katori?
Katori.
I like the mech more, because the mech, one, allows you to draw. Yeah, you have to discard, but it allows you to draw. And then you get to create those pilots, which can crew for, I think, for 3, which I think he's personally better, just my personal opinion.
So, yeah, I can't remember what the big mech's name is right now, but I've recently, looking at him, decided to go with the big mech guy as my commander, because you can loot, you draw 2, ditch 1, and then you create the pilot token, which will be able to crew with 2+ its power. So it will automatically be able to crew for 3. Katori is great because he makes all your vehicles crew for 2, but you have to have vehicles and creatures on the board. So the other big mech allows you to draw 2 cards, ditch 1 from your hand that you don't need right now or probably never, and then you get a token on the field so you can potentially start building up your pilots to crew into your vehicles. So, yeah.
The big question here. Access denial, Joe. Your opinion, make the cut?
It's a maybe.
A maybe.
That's a guarantee in my book. But all right, you heard it here. Joe says
Okay,
maybe. I say
the next one we're going to talk about is another blue card. This is a big boy. Cyberdrive Awakener for 5 and a blue. Artifact creature construct for a 4/4 solid body for its 6-drop. It does have flying, another plus. Other artifact creatures you control have flying. Oh my goodness. And then whenever Cyberdrive Awakener enters the battlefield until end of turn, each non-creature artifact you control becomes an artifact creature with base power and toughness 4/4. What? Did I not read this card the other day?
No, you did. So Cyberdrive Awakener is a card you play late game.
And I hope for 6 mana.
Well, no, in the sense that you want to have a bunch of vehicles on the board or a bunch of non-artifact artifacts or non-creature artifacts on the board because he turns all of them into a base power 4/4. What's really cool is he turns all your non-creature artifacts. So if you have Darksteel Forge, if you have
a bunch of treasures,
he turns them into 4/4 creatures for that turn.
All those little dockers we were just talking about.
Yeah, they become
4/4.
No, non-creature artifact. So if they're already a creature, they don't get the power.
Oh, okay.
So he turns your mana rocks, he turns your utility artifacts into 4/4 creatures, which can make them able to be killed by creature removal. But Cyberdrive Awakener, great card because it's when he enters the battlefield.
Ooh,
so if you have a way to flicker him out, or if you can do one of my favorite artifact cards is Master Transmuter, where you pay a blue, you tap her, you return an artifact from your hand or from your field to your hand, and you put an artifact from your hand onto the battlefield. So you can literally keep looping artifacts back to your hand, or you can put a little Thopter back to your hand, which will kill it, but then bring out Cyberdrive Awakener to get it out, to cheat it out for 1.
So I just noticed something probably kind of bad here, but there is a way around it. What are some of the bigger artifacts? Like I think it's like a 7/6, like a Juggernaut or something like that, right?
What, Perihelion? There's Perihelion.
What's the body on that thing?
It's a 4/4.
Is there
no. Perihelion is about like a 6/11.
6/11. I don't think
so. It's a huge body.
Okay. But the problem is you would have to crew that first before you would play this guy, because if he comes in and Perihelion is still an artifact, he's going to make it into a 4/4. Yeah.
He makes it into a 4/4 artifact creature.
Yeah, but it would not be a Perihelion. It would be Perihelion 4/4, not 6, whatever.
Yeah, he does turn some of your.
You have to crew it first.
Turn some of your. And if you want to do that, if you just want to have a bunch of 4/4s on the board with flying, that could potentially be game. True. Or knock out a couple players and then put one person.
I would say, as a word of caution, you would probably want to take caution to this because this does turn your non-crew vehicles into 4/4.
Well, that's why Cyberdrive Awakener is you play him only in the late game.
I mean, there are a lot of your small artifacts that I think like there's a 2/2 that comes with
there's
haste.
Soul Ring, Arcane Signet.
I'm talking about vehicles though. Isn't there like a 2/2 that comes that has haste?
Yeah, but it's power 6/1.
Okay.
And it's got trample, so you want it to come in as the vehicle.
Okay.
You don't want it to come in. So Cyberdrive's got some place to work around, but if you have a way to flicker him out or to put him in the graveyard and cheat him out real quick, easily. Again, we are playing in artifacts, and there's a ton of artifact mana reducers. So this guy being a big 5 or big 6 body, you can have Jorah's Familiar, Ethereum Sculptor, Foundry Inspector right there. There's 3 reduction. This guy now turns into a 1 blue and 2 colorless.
Yeah, and the fact that he gives all of them flying too, this could be a game ender.
Oh yeah. This is going to be a good card.
Made the cut?
Oh, of course.
Okay, made the cut.
All right, we're moving on to Iron Soul Enforcer, who's a 4 and 1 white, so a 5 CMC for a artifact creature human samurai, and a 4/4 body. First off, the fact that he's an artifact creature, great synergy with the deck. I did not.
Real quick. First off, what a fucking name!
Iron
Soul Enforcer. That's dope as hell.
That's a really good, really cool name. And his ability is whenever Iron Soul Enforcer or a commander you control attacks alone, return target artifact card from your graveyard to the battlefield. So at first, I didn't like this guy. I was like, attacks alone. I'm not a big fan of single combat. And I realized it looking it over more that this is actually really good, and this works in synergy with the big mech commander that comes in the set as well, or in this deck as well. Where when you pay his ability, you draw 2, ditch 1. You can ditch a huge CMC artifact into the graveyard. already have Iron Soul Enforcer on the field.
You're talking about Shorakai Genesis Engine?
Yes, Shorakai Genesis Engine. You use his ability to draw 2, ditch 1, and then you have Iron Soul Enforcer already on the board. You swing in with Iron Soul Enforcer. Again, it's just on attacks, so it's not has to hit. You then take that huge artifact that you put into the graveyard and you bring it back to the battlefield, not to your hand, battlefield. So you can ditch Dark Steel Forge, bring out Dark Steel Forge. Now all your artifacts are indestructible.
Yay!
Holy crap, that's great. Or you can
now everybody scoops.
Or you can ditch him and then bring out, if you need to, I don't know why you would, but to have it on board presence to assert dominance, Platinum Angel. Boom. Now you can't lose the game.
We all scoop.
Now you all scoop. Game over. I win. So Iron Soul Enforcer, pretty good card. Again, the fact that he's an artifact the creature himself, I did not read that because I'm dumb. Has really good synergy with a lot of other cards. Side math. So it has really good synergy with a lot of artifact cards. Some that come in this set, like Master Thopterus. Whenever an artifact enters the battlefield, or I think whenever you cast an artifact, you get a Thopter. So hey, look at that! You cast this guy, you get cool great ability and a body on the board. So amazing card, definitely going in now.
Yeah, this thing is almost. I feel like this thing is like a white blue, obviously white because he's white, but like just an artifact deck like staple now. The reason being is I think you used to have that white blue artifact partner deck.
Oh, the Stone Twins or
yeah.
Rebecca and the other guy.
I think that's what it was. But yeah, so pretty much the reason why I brought that up is because against this when a commander attacks. So when either of those partners attacks, when either of those partner attacks alone, you're going to be able to get one of your artifacts back. So I think this is like a white artifact deck staple.
Well, yeah, that's actually really good. There's a few other cards. I think there's a commander that comes out in Neon Destiny that works all about samurais attacking alone.
Dynasty, by the way.
Neon Dynasty?
Yeah, not Destiny.
Whatever, same thing.
Destiny. But you play too much
Dynasty. I do play too much Destiny. And Iron Soul Enforcer can go in there because he is a samurai himself. So he's got some niche. He's got some really good plays.
That is actually a good point. I mean, he can bring back your swords.
Yeah, you want to do samurai swords?
That's actually pretty
good. Okay. He's a human, so he falls in the human tribals pretty well. So it's just the fact that he gets an artifact back. So if your deck is artifact heavy,
he's definitely a lot better than I thought he was.
I used to have a red-white artifact deck with Rock, and he'd be really good in that. Just make sure if your artifacts blow up, you get them back.
Just make sure you can run white. Made the cut. Yep. Made the cut. Now, at first, didn't.
No.
Okay.
But now he does.
Yeah, he caught up. He was the little engine that could.
Mm-hmm.
All right, the next one we're going to talk about here is another blue card. It's going to be called Kappa Cannoneer for 5 in a blue. Artifact creature, Turtle Warrior, 4/4. This thing looks like Blastoise to me. It's a turtle with a giant cannon on its back. I love this card just because of that flavor to it.
That could be a camera. I know it says Cannoneer, but that could be
a camera. Yeah, okay. Smile. Poof. Yeah. All right. Improvise, which again is your artifacts can help you cast this card. For each one you tap, it adds 1. Ward 4. Ward is amazing. I love Ward. And then whenever an artifact enters the battlefield under your control, put a +1/+1 counter on Kappa Cannoneer, and it can't be blocked this turn. I'm going to read that again because I kind of didn't understand what I was reading. When an artifact enters the battlefield under your control, put a +1/+1 counter on Kappa Cannoneer, and it can't be blocked this turn.
So what? Kappa Cannoneer is the workhorse of the deck. I believe is one of the workhorses of the deck. It's an artifact creature itself, so it's going to have synergy with the entire deck. It's got the improvise ability, which in this case is really good, because you can tap down a bunch of your little baby Thopters and make this thing just a 1-drop blue, which is just nuts. It's got the Ward 4, which if you're not sure what Ward does, is if this creature becomes the target of a spell or ability your opponent controls, they have to tap an additional 4 mana for that ability to resolve, or it gets countered.
Taxes, baby.
So yeah, taxes. So you can go into a tax deck, which is just nuts.
It's like pseudo hexproof.
Kind of. A little bit better.
I think it's better, honestly.
Whenever an artifact, it's niche. Whenever an artifact enters the battlefield under your control, you put a +1/+1 counter on Kappa Cannoneer, and it can't be blocked this turn. So you can make Kappa Cannoneer gigantic with having a buttload of artifacts. Because, again, if you have, like, Master Thopterus on the field, and you play this guy, as you're casting him, you're going to get an additional token in the field, which should give him a +1/+1 immediately, making him a 5/5 body. That's great because then he can crew most of your vehicles off right, or you play another vehicle, boom, or another artifact. He just gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger.
You would know more than me about these artifact cards, but isn't there like a blue artifact card where like you pay X and something and create that many artifact creatures, like I think Thopters or Servos?
There may be something like that. I have somewhere.
Because this doesn't say like non-token. It's whenever an artifact.
No, it's whenever an artifact enters the battlefield under your control.
So the card that kind of comes to mind here is Replicating Ring. So when you get those 8, you get those 8 other artifact
that would
tokens.
trigger him 9 times or 8 times.
Yeah, your treasure generator, your treasure token generators. Like anytime any of those treasures pop in here, he gets a +1/+1, and he becomes unblockable. This thing can become huge quick.
Yes.
And your opponents won't even see it coming half the time.
Well, and then again, it's going to be very hard to get rid of because they have to pay an additional 4 to get if they want a single target.
So now board whip, okay, problem solved. But if I'm like, okay, Beast Within,
right?
Can you pay 4? No.
Let's go back to the topic that I just talked about in the previous card. If you ditch him for the Genesis Engine's ability, and then you literally can just swing with Ironside or your commander, you get this guy out for free.
Blastoise is awesome. I love
Blastoise. Is great. That's what we're coining him as. He has a really somber look to him, so maybe that cannon's a little too heavy, but
he's a turtle. He's walking slow regardless.
Yeah, definitely makes the cut. It is a 6 drop, so if somehow you don't have your mana reducers, it's going to be a pretty big thing. But again, there's ways to cheat him out. You got the Master Transmuter card. You got the Genesis Engine Iron Soul Enforcer combo.
Maybe I missed this before though. Does Ward also trigger if like you cast it and I counter, or I go to counter?
I don't think so because technically the creature's not on the board to get the Ward ability. When you counter something, you're not. It's not on the. None of its abilities have resolved yet.
Okay.
Except for the cast box.
Okay.
Stuff.
Yeah. I like it.
I like it too.
Does it make your cut?
Of course.
Okay.
Kappa is in.
Blastoise made the cut. Okay, guys, and we are on our last new card for the Rev Up Precon. Yeah, is that what it's called? The vehicle one.
Transformers.
We're on the Gundams, but yeah, we're on the last card of the new cards released in this Precon. This one is called Research Thief for 4 in a blue, so 5 CMC for a 3/3. However, it does make up for it here with the abilities. Flash, awesome. Flying, awesome. Whenever an artifact creature you control deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. Who doesn't like drawing cards?
That's part of Magic, drawing cards. What's really cool about that creature, it's an artifact creature itself, right?
Yeah, artifact creature, Moonfolk Wizard.
So there we go. Synergy again with the deck. Mana reducers make it really nice. It makes Blastoise bigger because it's an artifact. But what I really like about this card is it's kind of like another artifact creature called Sharding Sphinx, which is a older card, which has flying. Whenever an artifact creature you control deals combat damage to a player, you may put a 1/1 blue Thopter artifact creature token with flying into play.
Now that's Sharding with D's, not sharding like I shit.
No,
sharded.
that's like shards of glass. But because so both of these are cool. The reason why I bring up the Sphinx,
shit fart Sphinx,
whatever. The reason why I bring up the Sphinx is because he has the same synergy. If you have both of them out, like one, you're drawing cards, and if you have both of these creatures out, one, you're drawing cards off of creatures dealing damage, and then you're also creating an army of flying Thopters. Both are great cards. I really hope Sharding Sphinx comes in the pre-con, which it may not. If not, it's not that expensive of a card. Pick it up. It's really good. Back to the Moonfolk guy. Definitely, he's a good card. I will say a concern I do have seeing these last 4 cards that we talked about. They're all above 5 CMC.
Or 5
or they're 5 or above. So they can kind of get a little
pricey, especially on white blue.
In mana value, again, you have no ramp, which is why the Cultivator one is a great card. But again, you do have a bunch of mana reducers or ways to cheat out artifacts.
I do like Research Thief. The only thing that I'm not really fond of on the card is it is on combat damage. It's not an attack trigger, it's a combat damage resolution. It has to deal that combat damage for you to draw a card.
Yes, but then see that also plays into the cycle the the mind game aspect of Magic is okay. If I don't want my opponent to have a bunch of to redraw their hand after they use it all or get back a full grip of hands, I have to block all these creatures. One, if I don't have flying, or if then I may lose all my creatures. If I don't want to lose my precious creatures because they're going to help me on my turn, I have to let my opponent get resources and then I lose life. That could deter me from even blocking in the first place, but then put me further in the hole because now I don't have as much resource. So it's one of those things where it's great, or you do it if you have an army of thought.
Yeah, I say it is draw for each one that deals combat damage.
Exactly. So you will more. So you may want to run Thought Vessel in the deck.
Because it says whenever an artifact creature you control deals combat damage to a player, draw a card.
I've played with artifacts for a while, and you can get a big grip of your deck into your hand, so you may want to play some of those. You don't have any maximum hand size.
I mean, a couple that come to mind that are artifacts.
Thought Vessel.
Thought Vessel. Was it Venture's Journey? I believe is what it's called.
Venture's Journal. You have the maximum hand size, and you'll gain life equal. So you mainly want to run, but I'd rather run Thought Vessel or Reliquary Tower in this deck.
Those are the two basic ones.
Wouldn't hurt.
I'm just thinking like artifacts. So when you play the artifacts, now you're getting the ability
to
play other
that's
cards.
True.
Plus, they may be reduced. You may be able to play them for free for all you know. Spellbook.
Spellbook's a free
zero
drop, which is actually probably going to go in the deck. I have that in my reserves. I did not know this, but coming as a reprint in this is Mirage Mirror.
Mirage Mirror. That's the one.
It's a 3-drop artifact. Yeah. You may pay 2 and have Mirage Mirror become a copy of target creature, enchantment, artifact, or I believe land. So yeah, apologies about that little error. So Mirage Mirror is a 3-drop artifact that you can tap to. Mirage Mirror becomes a copy of target artifact, creature, enchantment, or land until end of turn. This is a card that's getting reprinted in this, so that's going to work really well with a lot of these cards.
That's all. That was one thing I wasn't really too impressed with these new precons is like the reprint value. There wasn't like a lot of like big bombs. I remember the last precons you had Anger. I think it was Mana Gorger Hydra in one of them.
I mean, they all can't be great cards. It's more of just, and we've learned this from. Never judge these by their initial list. I would say if you think if you're curious about it, pick it up, play with it. It may be something that you're not familiar with, so you may have to experiment and then buy obviously other cards on the side. But I'm really a fan of these set precons, which I really like when they do. Yeah, it does kind of seem like they come out with 2 of them each new set we get, but that's kind of fair. It puts out there to new players or players in general, hey, you can buy the set and then you can buy a deck and take the cards from the set. So I mean, you don't have to basically just scour the entirety of all of MTG or Wizards library to find cards that fit this deck. You have a set that goes with it. So it's okay if the reprint value isn't that good on them. I can understand some people wanted to, but then nowadays that usually jacks up the price of that precon. So
yeah. I do like a lot of these new cards that come in here that are exclusive to these because I feel like some of these could eventually be staples, as we talked about, moving forward. Like one of the ones I don't plan on using in my upgraded version of the Upgrades Unleashed deck is that Realm Collision or something like that. The one that is pretty much like a mass Chaos Warp. I think it's a great card. I think it's a great red card moving forward. It doesn't make my cut as far as what my vision is for my deck.
I'm actually opposite on that talking point. I actually like that one because it's not necessarily it is a mass Chaos Warp. Everybody who puts a non-token creature gets to do it, so it's chaos. I love.
Yeah, it's a great card. It just didn't make my cut.
I'm an agent of chaos. I have a Prosper deck, which is all about
chasing cards. You wouldn't know what to do with your
Exactly. Yeah, I have a Prosper Tomebound deck, which is all about exile. That deck is literally all about chaos. I even built Kenrith.
And that's what I said. Like, it's a great card. It just didn't make the cut for what my vision of my deck is. It's definitely going to be a card I hold on to because I do think it's going to be beneficial somewhere down the line, if not immediately in something. I do have a couple red decks. I got the Red Goblins. I got Felden. It doesn't really fit their themes, but I'm sure at some point down the line, it'll be a card that just...
Again, it can be one of those board wipes that nobody sees coming, and again, it doesn't kill. It sends
them back. So if they have a huge nasty board state with like Platinum Angel, Avacyn, whatever, and you're like, dude, this guy is unkillable. Oh no, he's not. I'll play this, send everything back, and then they can again, if they have Platinum Angel and they're banking on Angel being on the board to stay alive, you get rid of it, they're dead. That you in one thing you take away one person, so you eliminate all that threat, and then you could potentially eliminate someone's. They have like a Zakama board or Vengeance Zendikar, nasty huge board. Like, oh, guess what? You're all back. So it's a great card. That's why I wouldn't say if it's not your playstyle, it's fine. That's the cool thing about Magic is everyone's playstyle is always different. Some people may love a card, some people may hate a card, and it's the same exact card, and they hate and love it for the same exact reason.
Yeah.
But
let's go ahead and digress though, because that's a card for another day. Overall opinion so far, what we've seen from the precons and from the set itself, how do you feel?
From the precons, I feel satisfied. From the set, I feel absolutely giddy, and I use the word giddy.
I mean, the story. You're a Phyrexian boy.
I'm a Phyrexian.
Story is just right there.
I'm all for the Phyrexians. The fact that Jin Katakis is back. The fact that Tamio is the first of many. Hopefully,
the first that we know of.
The first of many.
Yeah,
it's going to happen.
Some people are speculating that your boy Venture is going to come back and just be Phyrexianized.
I really hope Venture comes back and he's Phyrexianized all over. It'd be awesome.
All right, guys, that's pretty much going to do it for this one. This is the second edition of Make the Cut. We will do this for every precon that comes out because, as you well know, we are EDH players. Usually when there's only 2 precons that come out, we each get one or the other. I sometimes buy both because I'm a sexy boy, and I love doing that. I just like having cards. I can't throw cards away. I just can't do it, even with mass bulk commons. Overall, I'm excited for this set coming out. We will be doing our individual precon upgrades on our visions of and our opinions of how we want the deck to run. So again, after we get the decks and we play with them fresh out of the box, we're going to go ahead and take them home. We're going to sleeve them up, and then we'll actually put videos out for you guys showing you our upgraded versions of the decks and why we decided to put these cards in and take some cards out. Again, making the cut and stuff like that. So look forward to those deck building or those deck tech decks. And then let us know in the comment section below if you would like us to actually just do like deck techs of some of our already pre-existing decks. Joe's talked about how he has a Prosper deck. I think I got 11 decks now. This will be my 12th deck I'm working on.
Nick's definitely got enough to keep a year's
the content coming.
Keep a year's worth of content alone on the amounts of decks he builds. We'll also be doing a couple box openings videos. I plan on getting a couple boxes myself. My brother's planning on getting...
I believe you're getting 2 set boosters?
I'm getting 2 set boosters.
I'm getting a set booster and a fat pack.
Yes. And then we'll also get the pre-release kits that will open in another video. And we're gonna try to take it a little bit slow, but also kind of when I watch box openings, if I do, it kind of gets a little stale to see people crack.
Yeah, so we're slow and steady wins the race here as far as content. We're gonna try and release content as often as possible, but please do stay tuned for those box openings because those will be coming up next week because we're able to get our boxes for pre-release week. So we're gonna get the pre-release kits again, and we're gonna be able to get our set booster boxes. The fat packs we probably won't be able to do a review on because those don't come out until the week after. Same thing with the precons. But we are going to have hopefully 3 box openings for you. We will try and get through it pretty quick. We're going to kind of shuffle through the commons unless we come across a common or an uncommon that is actually one of those really awesome ones, and we'll talk about it a little bit. But these are the box openings. This is our first time doing it, so just bear with us as we progress further into the channel and we get better with this stuff. Hopefully the content becomes more solid and more fluid. Please give a like, subscribe, share, hit that bell button. It definitely makes us, we appreciate everything you guys do already, but it just shows the appreciation back towards us. And again, leave a comment in the comment section below on anything you guys would like to see. Again, I have about 11 decks. I think, Joe, you have, 5, I think? Somewhere in that realm?
Just about 5.
Okay, I know you just took a couple apart, so.
Yeah.
But anyways, thank you guys again. We are the Kings of Lethal. Hopefully we can get our other king on here soon. And you guys might have heard the Prince of Perfection a little bit during the talk here. But yeah, the reason why I say that is because the whole Phyrexia, he is perfected. But yeah, so thank you guys again. Stay tuned. We love you, and as always, stay lethal.
Bye bye.